For this project, I worked with Gina O'Donnell. We worked through 3 activities to analyze 3 different forms of communication using technology. To test these forms of communication, we performed basic science activities. We looked at how effective the communication was in synchronous, asynchronous, and face-to-face interactions. During this video, you will see both still images and video clips of the activities we did as I discuss the benefits and disadvantages of each of the communication tools we used and what we learned from each other. Pencil Tower. To build a pencil tower, Jean and I chatted in Google's Instant Messenger. For the purpose of this activity, this method of communication worked very well. It was a natural conversation which occurred at a pleasant pace and flow. While working in this synchronous chat, Jean and I had instant feedback from the other about what we were building. There were no real gaps in the conversation. The downside of using this type of communication while discussing how to build something is that there is no visual interaction, and sometimes it was hard to know exactly what Jean was doing to her structure. As with all of these activities, a majority of what we discovered while building was learned through trial and error. New ideas developed from what was not working. One of the most important things we discovered was which made a more stable base, a triangular pyramid or a cube. Jean tried building up from the cube, and I built up from the pyramid. While I tried attaching pyramids to each other, the tower was very lopsided. However, Jean was able to combine both ideas, the cube and pyramid, and make a successful tower reaching 3 feet 4 inches tall. Because this chat allowed us to have instant feedback from each other, we were able to successfully build a tower. Although instant messaging and other synchronous chats are typically used for acquaintances and friends to talk the way the phone once was used, I think it can be used for more. Dana Boyd, in Decoding the New Cues in Online Society, is quoted for stating that instant messaging makes the conversation persistent. I agree that by documenting the conversation, that synchronous chats can be used and be beneficial for a wide range of uses. Catapult. For the catapult activity, Jean and I posted comments on the Ning discussion board. For me, this was the most ineffective form of communication. This was a difficult interaction because while the flow of the conversation was mediocre, the comments were irregular and we were very slow to receive feedback from each other. However, I did expect this interaction to be this way because it was taking place over a 4-day period of time. The positive side of this interaction was that we were able to post digital images of our catapults. This helped us vision what the other was doing. For me, the catapult was a difficult structure to build, and I encountered many problems. Through communicating with my partner on Ning, I was able to improve my structure. The 2 largest problems I had were that my basket would not hold the ping pong ball, and that when fired, the ball went straight up in the air. Jean was able to give me 2 ideas that improved my catapult. She suggested that instead of my bundle of toothpicks, I try only 4 toothpicks straight up for a basket, and that I add an extra rubber band around the arm of my catapult. By communicating with my partner, I was able to create a catapult that fired 10 feet. For a project that you are discussing something such as building a structure or other creative endeavors, I do not feel that asynchronous chats are an effective method of communication. Because you are waiting for a response, the creative flow of the project is interrupted. One negative aspect of this type of interaction is that you never know who you are really talking to. John Schuler states in Identity Management in Cyberspace that in online environments, one's identity can be real to life, imaginary, or hidden. No one will ever know, especially in text-only environments, such as the asynchronous chats. After all, who is to say that my partner or I are the ones posting in Ning? Egg drop. For the face-to-face activity, Jean and I communicated through a webcam. This was a very smooth, natural, and constructive interaction. Jean and I were able to naturally move from idea to idea, and the only dead time in the conversation was when one of us was dropping the egg. This activity went very quickly, but we were still able to work very efficiently. As in previous activities, we learned from our mistakes. The biggest thing that we learned from our first egg drops was how the egg fell and what areas needed extra protection and support. We discovered that if you make a nest in between the 4 egg cells, the egg is more protected and the cells absorb most of the impact. In the end, Jean and I discovered 2 solutions to this problem: Jean's well-packed egg carton and my packed egg carton with an inflated balloon on top. I consider the nature and quality of the communication with my partner in this activity very successful. I was able to both see and hear her. In Presence in Cyberspace, Schuler states that in cyberspace we are unable to interact as we do in the face-to-face world. We cannot see, hear, smell, and touch the person we are communicating with. However, in this interaction, I was able to both see and hear Jean, and I still felt her presence. After using the 3 types of communication, I have come to the conclusion that the face-to-face interaction can be the most beneficial because you can both see and hear the other person. I also find synchronous chats highly effective when used correctly. However, as we progress into the future, our society will rely on technological communication more than ever. It is our responsibility as teachers to teach our students how to use those forms of communication as effectively as possible.